As we've been reporting, President Trump says the ceasefire with Iran is on, quote, massive life support after rejecting Iran's response to his peace proposal. Come about a week after Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the offensive part of the war, Operation Epic Fury, was over. On 60 Minutes Sunday, CBS News' Major Garrett asked Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for his take.
Is the war with Iran over? And if it isn't, who will decide when it is?
I think it accomplished a great deal, but it's not over because there's still nuclear material, enriched uranium, that has to be taken out of Iran.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
Let's bring in retired U.S. Navy Vice Admiral Robert Murrett. He is also professor at Syracuse University. Thank you for being here. Can you give us a better sense of what an operation to grab the nuclear material might look like?
Yeah, Lindsay, a great question. I think there's a lot of speculation on that. What I would say is that to begin with, it would be an extremely high-risk operation. And the reason for that is if you just wanted to go after the small, not that small, 200 kilograms of very highly enriched uranium, you may be able to do that at a couple sites, but there's also additional uranium stockpiles of less enriched product, probably scattered throughout the country. So just from a targeting and planning standpoint, you'd probably have to go to several different locations. But doing so would be a very, very risky operation. I think the real answer to your question, Lindsay, is the best way to go after the enriched uranium and the whole nuclear program that Iran has is to negotiate a deal with them. As Prime Minister Netanyahu was saying, going in and getting it is certainly in the scope of things that the military can do, but it's extremely high risk.
CBS News has learned Pakistan let Iran park military aircraft on its airfield, potentially shielding it from U.S. attacks. What's your reaction to that, knowing Pakistan is acting as a mediator?
Yeah, Lindsay, that doesn't surprise me. I think it's, Pakistan is doing, I think, their level best to stay engaged with all the various key stakeholders in the current conflict, primarily the United States and Iran, but also the Gulf states and others. And my understanding is there were some civilian aircraft taken to a civilian field in an urban area and some other ones. As you know, and I'm glad you have the map up there, Iran and Pakistan share a pretty big border. So it would be a place of choice for the Iranians to send some of their aircraft. And the fact that the Pakistanis allowed them to do that really doesn't surprise me much.
All right. Well, we are now 10 weeks into the war. Is this a stalemate, or are there still military options available to pressure Iran into making a deal?
I think there are a lot of things we can do, Lindsay, to continue to put pressure on, and most of it is actually economic, and to negotiate with them in earnest and try to explain to them why it is in their interest to cease this fight and to do something that will extend where we are now in terms of the ceasefire, and particularly the economic impact that it's having on the Iranians and the harm that it's causing for their own people. Although you have to, I think, have some, expectation management, because the Iranian leadership in its previous iteration, but on its current operation as well, with many carryovers, that has a very high threshold for imposing pain upon their own people, as we saw in the massacres in January. So I think we have to put pressure on, and most of it would probably be economic rather than military at this point.
What would it take, you think? What economic hurt would be required?
I think continued dismantlement of their ability to export any POL products from Lorik Islands and other places, which is already in effect. And as you listed earlier, Lindsay, I mean, just in the last week, we have apparently terminated Epic Fury, according to our Secretary of State. We had Project Freedom go on and go off again over the course of about a day and a half. The ceasefire is still in effect, but as we've seen, it's on life support, according to the White House, and that's probably accurate. And the MOU drafts are going back and forth. So I think that is something which is a means to put additional pressure on the Iranians. But the projection for how long that's going to take is very difficult.
Robert Murrett, thank you for your time.
Good to see you, Lindsay.
Thanks.